It's project day. It seems like I never ever catch up on all my projects. I have so many little things I got to do all the time. It really never ends. But it is Saturday and it is rainy. It's not raining right now, but it's wet, it's cold, it's nasty. But that's how it is. So here is a little project that I've been meaning to do for, I don't know, a month, probably, maybe longer, who knows. But the Great Dane. Okay, you guys know this is my fall mower. A lot of people have asked, why don't I use the Walker MT for my fall cleanups? And I did last year. The problem with that is just that, one, it trashes the mower. It just, I mean, everything is wet, nasty, muddy, crappy, and it just trashes the mower. And I need that Walker MT for the spring when I'm bagging like crazy. And I don't want to beat the hell out of it in the fall. So many of you already know, but some keep asking. So I dedicated the Great Dane this year to my fall cleanup mower for a couple reasons. One being what I just said about the Walker, and two, because a lot of lawns I go to don't have a ton of leaves, and it's something I can easily manage with just mulching up. And so I can use the Walker. If I didn't care about trashing the Walker, I could use that and just leave the back door open. But when it's wet and chunky like that, it just blows chunks of that stuff out of the back of the Walker. Whereas I can just use the Great Dane and I can just mulch everything up. I run the G6 Gator blades this time of year on it because they mulch 10 times better than the other blades I use the rest of the year. And I have the accelerator, the 6.2 accelerator for it, and you guys have seen all my other videos, the bag extension I make for it. So I can bag up massive amounts of leaves at one time. I can bag up just a few leaves if I need to, or I can just mulch them up. The one thing that I've been running into with just mulching them up is a lot of times, you know, they blow so far out the deck, you go over them once and you got to swing around and go around a couple times to get it back into a row and then go over it again. So what I want to do is make a plate for the side. And I just haven't had time to do it. So I have a thick chunk of plate steel here I've had for a while. I don't even know what I have it for, but it's pretty thick. And so what I'm going to do, I'm not going to make one with a rod that goes up that I can control it because I'm only going to use it sometimes. So I'm going to do it the same way I did it on the Exmark 36. And I'll just have it where I can just put it on and pin it. The one good benefit of this, because that's my accelerator mount, is that it has this chunk that comes out and goes down, and there's a gap in there. And I don't know why that's like that, but probably for whatever the original setup was with this when it had the deflector down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the plate to go across, but I'm going to make it a little bit longer so I can just tuck it in there, and that'll help hold the plate down so the force doesn't have it, you know, blowing out. And this will allow me when I'm doing, you know, a smaller amount of leaves, because if you do too many like that with a plate on there, it just chunks it up anyway. So with the G6 Gator blades in there and the plate on, that'll mulch them up really, really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to make it how the size I want to measure. I'm going to cut it out and I'm going to smack it with a hammer to bend it in so that I can have it tucked in, but it still lays flat across the mouth. And I'm not really sure what I'm going to do on this side yet. I may just weld a stud off the back top corner so it goes right through the hole for my accelerator. And then I'll drill a hole through that stud so I can just pin it. I can just put a pin down through there, have the other end tucked in there, and that's all I'll have to do. And so when I'm not using it, I can just pull the pin out, slide that out, and slide it right out from underneath there. Done. So let's get it going. Nice and simple. All I did is took my Milwaukee 4.5 inch grinder, used one of these 40 grit metal cutoff wheels. I buy them in the 10 pack from Harbor Freight. I'll show you what they look like. I got packs of them in here. Here's a pack here. That's it. That's all they look like. They're only a few bucks for a 10 pack. I use them all the time. I have that one. I have a battery operated one. And that's it. Nice and simple. So that will go on there like so. And I'm going to have to, once I get it up there, I'm going to step it down. I only had it that high so that I can make it so a pin will go through there. And I'm going to cut it down so it'll be even with the deck and go underneath that piece. Alright, so now I need to make a few measurements on this thing. I'm going to get it. You know what? Alright, I have to keep stopping. This phone's ringing off the hook this morning. But anyway, so now we got that there. I'm going to make my line up there. And we're going to make a line like, I don't know, like right here. Right here-ish. Nothing I do is ever exact, in case you guys haven't figured that out. Okay. So, you know what? Might as well make my mark for my hole there where I'm going to drill through. Because now I have another idea for that. So, pull that off there. Got some funky lines here. But we are going to... Yeah, that'll work. Take these gloves off. I can't work with gloves when I'm doing stuff like this. It drives me crazy. So, we're going to come down. We are about 1.5 inches down. So, since that edge is jacked up, I can't use my square on there. We're going to go 1.75 inches actually. Because being down just a hair bit more is not going to hurt anything. So, do that. Connect the dots with my lines here. And I'm going to cut that out. And we should be able to go from there. So now, time to put these gloves back on. I might need a new cutoff wheel. These cutoff wheels burn up pretty quick, but and I know I could just get a different grit cutoff wheel that'll last longer, but these are cheap, and I don't really care about burning through them, so it pretty much is what it is, man. So we're going to, I'll cut that one first. I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but we're going to cut this one first. Alright, now I have that cut out. I should easily clamp this back on there. Now what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to put another clamp on there because I'm going to smack this side with a hammer to bend it in. So I don't want that to come off. So let me get another clamp here and I'll be right back with you. Alright, that one clamped hard, but I need it to clamp hard. So that way, this one, it doesn't come off when I'm whacking it with a hammer. Hey, where'd you guys go? Sorry about that. Okay, that's not working quite as planned because there's so much flex to it. Alright, so what I did was I just stood on that part and lifted up on this, and it gave me the bend I wanted. So stick that up in there, have that piece there. Now what I could do is just drill a hole through here and then just put a snap clip right through that hole and snap it over, and that'll hold this from falling down or from going anywhere. But my fear now is if I hit a bump, this can pop down out of there. I don't know if it'll actually go down with a pin in here. So let's get a hole drilled. I'll get a hole drilled in this one here. We'll see what happens. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I know almost everything I have is Milwaukee, and then I have these rigid drills. But, you know, if I had Kevin's money, I'd burn mine. So, I got to go with what I got. So, we're going to start off, make us a pilot hole. Well, my idea for a pin was to use a snap pin, but I don't know where my case of those are at. I could probably find it, but for now, so we'll take this, put that in there, put this up here like so, and we'll just put one of these pins through here. Like I said, I like the snap pin idea better, but let's put that in. And that definitely ain't gonna work. So, like, the snap pin will be smaller, so it'll hold it better. So let's go find those. This was my idea with this snap pin, but I already doubt this is going to work the way that I want it to. I can see that coming off, and it still leaves the backside loose. So, I'm gonna have to do one of two things. I'm either gonna have to, I'm thinking I could probably put a bolt through there with a wing nut on it, because that'll hold it a little tighter. But I'm either gonna have to do something back here to hold that end up, or I'll drill a hole right through there. So I got one there, and that'll hold it from going down. I don't need it completely sealed off. I just need it to stop 90% of it so it stays in the deck longer and mulches it up. Which, you know, even if it is a little bit loose on there, a hole there and there will still do the job. So, let's take our handy marker here. We'll mark a hole right there. And I'll drill through there too. And I'll drill right through that mount. Because it isn't going to affect the mount at all. The accelerator, the pin goes through there, and it has like an L bracket, or like a U-shaped bracket that just sets right over top. And it actually sits right there. You can see where it rides. And I'm going to be drilling back here. So it's not going to affect it either way. Okay, so now slide that up under there. And I can put a pin through there and a pin through there. Well, that hole ain't big enough for this pin. We'll do this real quick. Put a pin through there and a pin through there. It allows it to come out, so I need something a little more snug to hold it in. I was thinking I could just put a bolt in there with a wing nut on it. But I'd like to have something, that is a little faster than pulling a wing nut off there. So let me see what I can come up with. Trying to think. Let me see what I can come up with too. Or if I could just take two of these, pull that ring off there, and just drill a hole right through that, and then just put a pin in it. Each one like that. That's kind of how I did it with the one on the Exmark, only I welded studs onto the plate, so it sat on there. Boy. comes out quite a bit at the bottom. It flaps on there. I didn't see that coming. So now I need to figure out something else. It'll definitely hold it on there, but it flaps. And maybe if I left a little longer there to go under there, it would have been fine. But the problem with that is when you're sliding these in, it won't go underneath there. You know what I mean? You can't get it under there while you're sliding these in now, because then it bends the whole thing. So what I ended up doing is welding that plate back on there. In hindsight, I probably should have thought this through a little bit more. But, so anyway, I can stick that up under there, put the plate in there, and it kind of sticks out a little bit. I have a gap there. I'm not concerned with that. If you guys watch the one, the Exmark, I made it at first so it was super tight against there. And I did get a bunch of clumping and stuff. I mean, you're going to get that when it's wet anyway. But what I ended up doing was I made them a little bit looser, so there was a little bit of play, a little bit of gap in there, and that allowed it to breathe, and it let a little bit of the stuff come out, but it mulched up 90% of it. So it definitely worked out better that way. So that's pretty much it. Now all I got to do is pin it each side, and then it's on there. It'll do what I need it to do, and I can pop it off easy. So now I'll just shoot it up with some paint, and that'll pretty much be that. I wasn't going for, I know I'm sure I'll get some criticism. Why don't you just buy one, this and that? Well, they're over 200 bucks, and I use it for a month out of the year, and I don't even use all the time. I bag a lot of it. That's why I made that extension for the accelerator, and that's why I have the accelerator. This just helps with, you know, the little bits. It's just so much easier. I can go over it once like this and mulch it, and they'll be gone like I do with the Toro 30 push. And whereas when I just have a little bit of leaves in the yard and I go over them and I mulch them, then, you know, they shoot out far and they mulch up pretty good, but there's still a bunch left. So then you got to circle around and go over it again, like I already explained. So it's a very limited use thing. I don't need this for regular mowing throughout the season when I'm going in between flower beds and stuff. That's what I have the MT for. You know, that's where that mower really stands out, going in between a lot of flower beds and stuff. So this is just a very limited use thing, and that's why in the past I've made a few of these and I've done videos on them. You know, this took me 45 minutes of my time. Probably would have been 20 minutes if I had pre-planned it and thought it out more. But you know, like 45 minutes, an hour of my time, and was scrap that I had laying around. So I'm not out any money. It didn't really, you know, it was maybe $4 or $5 in plate steel that I picked up somewhere, I'm sure. Or I probably got it for free, who knows. But so, and now it's done, and now it'll do exactly what I need it to do. No big deal. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, I'll shoot it up with some paint so it don't look so redneckish, you know, but it'll do the job, and that's that. Gloss Walker Yellow, this extremely expensive Walker mower paint. So I figured I had some of this still laying around, so that's what I finished it off with. You can see, I don't know, well, you can see in the light there, but all yellow. So at least it'll match the mower. Won't be a perfect match, but it'll match. So now I'm going to leave it hang here in the garage for the rest of the weekend, because it's only Saturday morning, and it'll have plenty of time to dry and harden up, and then she'll be good to go for Monday morning. And that's it. Like I said, guys, I wasn't going for perfect, so before any of you want to judge me and say this thing wasn't, you know, you should have done this, done that, and man, that looks like crap, whatever, it does the job, and that's all I'm looking for. For a month out of the year, I'm not spending $300 on one. It does the job. I may eventually, when I buy whatever stander I'm going to buy over this winter, I haven't decided yet, I may eventually get one, just buy one for that mower, depending on the deal I can get on it. But for this old Great Dane, this will do the job and then some.